Good evening. Welcome once again to week 4 of Heroes League TV. You're joined by myself, Avril, and my brand new spanking shining co-caster tonight, Gaima. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Good, man. Because you're pretty new onto the scene as the brand new caster on tonight. Why don't you give all the viewers a little bit of introduction about who you are, what have you been getting up to? You also have a team that you do stuff with, so just give us a little slight rundown of what you've been up to so far in Overwatch.
So since about the open beta, I was playing for Free Agent A as their main tank, but then I had to step down due to time requirements, so I'm now managing them. And due to my newfound time, I casted a few events. I did the latest ESL and most lately Gamester last night.
Yeah, I do remember the old ESL event. Pixie and myself, you guys probably remember Pixie from last night on Heroes League TV. We also had a bit of fun on that ESL weekend. So, got a couple of casts under your belt so far, Gaima. Feeling pretty good about it. We got you on the old analyst position tonight. Um, how you feeling about that? You got some good. You obviously got some good management background for your team. I think you've probably been playing since the beta and all that. You pumped for tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've seen a lot of Global Sanction play, so I'm excited to see how they do against mOist.
Okay, and obviously the Global Sanction team we've got tonight is a brand new lineup that pretty much just debuted yesterday for the GameStar League that you casted. So, did you follow a bit of the Global Sanction and their team and how they went yesterday? Could you give us a bit of a rundown with that?
Yeah, I did actually see them on King's Row, and their new pickup Soundwaves, I actually gave MVP of that match. He played a phenomenal soldier, which I think won them that match. So, be interesting to see how that affects tonight as well.
Yeah, well, what do you? They've really been coming in through the scene, and I've obviously done a bit of work with them as well. I've been sort of you know had a bit of a coaching position doing some stuff with them as well. So it's good to see them really picking up now. They've obviously had quite a few different player positions being swapped in and out, and now I think they're finally at the stage where they've got a nice steady roster that they can start getting some really decent results with. And I think if we're going to go by anything that happened last night, they did do pretty well. I think, correct me if I'm wrong because you were there, the final result was that Global Sanction came third in that qualifier.
It was either third or fourth. I can't remember the details, but yeah, they definitely qualified for Thursday, which will be exciting for them.
Yeah, the important thing is they definitely qualified for the other league, GameStars League Zowie, for the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. But the focus tonight is, of course, on Heroes League. We have Global Sanction versus Team mOist. We saw it. We've talked a lot about Global Sanction. Let's talk a little bit about Team mOist. What do you reckon of these guys here? Do you know anything about them? Anything about their players, their backgrounds, what have you?
Well, I haven't actually seen them much in the past few weeks, but I do remember back a few weeks ago in a Jamster tournament, I believe it was, when we had Jim Ebb subbing in for Free Agent A, these guys, mOist, were actually the ones who knocked us out of the tournament. So they are a solid team, and so they should be able to compete well with Global Sanction.
So they've been around for a bit. Have these guys been playing for a while, or?
Yeah, I'm probably looking at 3, maybe 4, potentially even 5 weeks they've been together.
Okay, so certainly not newcomers onto the scene. I've probably been living under a rock, so I haven't really seen them play before. I'm sure they participated in other leagues, but this will be the first time I'm seeing their performance in Heroes League. But let's take a look at the brackets really quick to see how these teams are shaping up in the current Swiss brackets. We got mOist coming in at number 30 with a 1-2 record, and Global Sanction at number 23 with, again, a 1-2 record. So both of these guys kind of in a must-win situation. I said on a previous cast where the way Swiss works is you're probably going to need to make, if you're already down 2 games, you kind of have to make 4-2 as your final score to have a shot at the top 8 playoffs. And I think with 8 teams going to playoffs, most teams probably have a decent chance, but I think at this stage, you kind of need a 4-2 score. What do you reckon from your experience of the Swiss that happened recently?
Yeah, there's a number of competitions using Swiss at the moment, and in my experience, you're right, 4-2 is what you need. So both of these teams will be desperate for a win tonight.
Yep, let's take a look at the journey of these guys just very quickly before the teams still haven't read it up. So let's quickly take a look at how these teams have done through this league so far. We'll do Global Sanction first. Their first game was versus Untitled Spreadsheet. 2-0 for the side of Spreadsheet. You'll probably agree with me, nothing too out of the ordinary there. Spreadsheet being the dominant team in the region at the moment. Global Sanction's first week in the tournament as well. Number 2, Global Sanction versus Oast Gaming. They've had a pretty good run against Oast Gaming. They played Oast Gaming a lot last night as well, and they in their previous encounters burned through them pretty soundly. They lost 2-0 against Thanks last week, so that's their 1-2. And just before we head in, I'll be fair and make sure I get both of the teams in there. So where is Team mOist on this little thing I'm looking at? mOist, of course, also on that 1-for-2. So here we go. They lost against FPD last week 2-0, but they did defeat Fermented Nug 2-0 in the second week. And then I'm going backwards actually. So in the first week, mOist did who did they play in the very first week? They played against Team Expert and lost 2-0. So a little bit of a tough run for mOist so far. And I think tonight's still going to be pretty tough. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think both of these teams have the potential to win tonight, so it should be an exciting match.
Cool. Okay, we're going to get into this game now. Both the teams look like they're ready to go. They're raring to go in the lobby. And first map is Numbani. Let's get this thing started. Week 4, here we go. Entering the map. All right, game out, Numbani. Let's talk a little bit about this map. You've played for Free Agent A. You've managed a team. What do you guys like to do for this? Like, what's the thing that people do on Numbani? How do teams play this map?
Well, it's actually can be quite a difficult map to take the first point on, depending on how well the defensive side holds it. I find that a lot of teams like to have quite a split defensive hold, looking in on the point, and that can be quite hard for teams to break into. What I've seen a lot though is that teams like to run up along the coast to try and get a good flank in. So depending on which team holds the flank on coast better, I think we'll see the point go accordingly.
I've actually noticed a lot of teams have opted now. We're in the sort of meta where you've almost got a flex support role. Mercy stays as is, but you've got the Lucio role that's basically changing up to a lot of different kind of stuff. We're seeing a lot of I've seen Bastions, Torbjorns, Symmetras, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And tonight you're actually going to see Barry onto that Junkrat. What do you make of that?
Yeah, Junkrat's a really nice pick for this because that main chokehold is a really nice one to spam as Junkrat, and you can shut down pushes really quickly if they don't have a Reinhardt to block it.
Yeah, and look at this lineup coming up from Global Sanction. They've already got a Diva and a Winston. That looks to me like they want to go pretty aggressive onto this first point. Here we go. They're going to run through the main streets. Winston leading the way. Rick going to be on the monkey. Jumps up straight away. Barry going to be their first target. They want to take down this Junkrat. Most of the players for mOist are actually on the ground now. Rick and Soch going to take the first 2 kills. Soundwave's going to reply as well on another kill. Only Bugler's been taken down by Eagle on the Roadhog at the moment. Looking really solid for Global Sanction. All 6 players still only against 3. Respawn is only just beginning to show up for now. Raze is going to actually take down Rick as well. Global Sanction now looking like they only have 2 on the point. Can they actually take this first point? What's going on?
Yeah, they just really didn't seem to follow up with picks. They got some nice early picks, but they just let the defensive players just retreat out of there without even chasing them, and that really hurt them.
So it looked really good. I mean, they got the players into the correct positions onto the top right. They pushed the Junkrat down. Barry he's actually changed into the the Reaper now. So we're actually looking at a 3, maybe 3.5 DPS lineup for mOist, running with the only healer. I think the weakness here is actually they're only running a Mercy. If that Mercy dies, this whole lineup could actually fall apart. Here comes push number 2. Rick going to be the first one to go in as well. Soch on the sidelines here. No one's going to get picked. Soundwave's going to get Barry the first go. And Eagle Eye going to respond onto Render. That's both DPSs, one on each side of both teams going to go. Tactical fight on Soundwave's the back. He's got a blue beam. He's going to do a lot of damage here. Soch going to take the raised. And Eagle Eye with the ulti as well. But he's going to be soundly taken down by Soch, doing a lot of work on this point now. 3 players up for Global Sanction. Sanction and a resurrection up from mOist. A lot of the players just managing to get back in here. And once again, it looks like Global Sanction might not be able to get this, but there's another 2-man res. 4 people now on the 5 people on the side of Global Sanction still in the fight. Gaiman.
Yeah, good res is coming out from both sides. It's still a very big brawl. It'll be interesting to see who takes this. Both teams still seem to be in it.
Oh, Render, beautiful back, rocket barrage on the backside, gonna get 3, and now finally I think Global Sanction have enough kills to make it through and cap this point. It took 3 sort of pushes, I mean 2.5 really, you consider there's a res in there, 2.5 pushes for Global Sanction to finally make that push. Couple of
I'm not sure what
mistakes
that
there,
Diva ult was about at the end. Oh, they're just switching off. Yeah, they didn't really make advantage of their res very well, the defensive side. They had that man advantage, but then they didn't really get enough picks afterwards. A 2-man res from Taken really being enough to get the levels up. So they really need to be able to make better usage of their man advantage in the future.
It does actually look like the DPS players are falling down quite early, and a lot of the times we're seeing the Winston, wreck on the Winston, being the only one still on the alive side. The Shield going to go down here, looking like another fight. mOist giving up a little bit of ground here. They don't look like they want to fight here. Shield going down for mOist, but Rex looking for a bit of blood. Global Sanction saying, you don't want to fight us, well, we're going to bring the fight straight to you. Soldier's pretty deep in there. Soundwave's going to go for the aimbot. Takes down 2. Mercy's going to go down here for the side of mOist. It's actually really big. No one's pushing the cart though, Gaima.
Yeah, I find that generally teams don't need to push the card if they can wipe the defensive team so quickly as they appear to have done here, so I don't think that's too much of an issue. What I found though was that mOist was just a bit too split, and then Global Sanction just caught them unawares with both tanks just pushing straight in. And I think that meant that they didn't really have the damage to get rid of those tanks early because they were a split team, and as a result, they went down.
Actually looked like mOist were a little bit hesitant there. They looked like at first they wanted to do a bit of a hold, they wanted to contest, and then they looked like they didn't want to contest. The shield was going down. I don't even have time to talk about that. Kasoj once again wants to go in first. He's on the Reinhardt, and the cart is making its way around the corner. Render's going to take down Raze here for the initiation of this push. 6v5 on the side of Global Sanction, going to even it up. Freem going to take down Render as well. A DPS player down for Global Sanction could spell trouble. Soj with the 3-man hammer down at the front lines, trying to take down Rabbit. He still does have a res. This is a pretty prime target. He finally goes down, and Soundwave's going to come in for the cleanup perhaps. Render is still alive as well. Only Berry up, no, he goes down as well. What's mOist going to do about this? They do still have a res. If Rabbit can get up in time, he can fly in and potentially res, but I just don't think he can do it, and that's going to be the point.
Yeah, Render and Soundwaves were just taking people down way too quickly there for mOist to have a response. I think both used their ults in that last push, and that was just devastating.
I think the key thing that really happened there for me was Rabbit going down in that fight, and props to Global Sanction for being able to pick that player down, but being able to removing the Mercy from that final defense really secured that push for me from Global Sanction. It meant that they, mOist really didn't have any other chance to get back into the game, and Render and Soundwaves both being alive there, both using their ulti. Soundwaves good positioning at the back line with the aimbot, with the blue beam on the aimbot as well, really cleaning up. It just didn't look like mOist really had any options. I mean, they had a Tracer at the end. I don't even know if a Tracer can really do that much right at the end. I think it was a bit of a desperation pick.
Especially against an aim-botting soldier, you don't even have to aim at the Tracer, so her maneuverability is really not going to help that much. I just don't really like that Tracer pick. I mean, yes, it can delay, but you're often not going to win fights out of that. Okay,
so switching sides now with Global Sanction this time on the defense, and the first thing I'm noticing is a Torbjorn. You're quite a keen Torbjorn player yourself. So first of all, how viable is Torbjorn on this defense, and what do you think he's going to do here?
Yeah, Torbjorn to me is actually very viable on this point because you can get a flank as a defensive player so well where they have to focus on so many places at once that it's really hard to push onto the point. And if you use the turret effectively, you can really just shut down pushes, especially with that Molten Core ultimate if you can get it up.
Right, so what did mOist have to do here to shut that Torbjorn down? Is Torbjorn a big factor on this map, or is it kind of just a nuisance that's just kind of like, it's whatever?
I think Torbjorn's importance depends entirely on how mOist responds. If they quickly identify it and then shut it down quickly with maybe a Pharah shooting rockets at it before they push, that can just make the Torbjorn pretty useless. But if they don't focus it at all, then the Torbjorn turret will continue hitting them, adding essentially a 7th player.
I want to quickly add, in terms of time there, the time was 4:25, which basically means, you know, it's a very solid time. 4:25 means you barely lost any pushes, but as we saw, that Global Sanction failed the first two-ish kind of pushes there, and kind of got the res right at the end of that to secure it, but really they failed the push and a half on their first offense, and I think mOist are going to have to, in order to beat 4:25, they're going to have to take the first point more convincingly than Global Sanction did, and then keep the momentum going, because after that, I think you'd probably agree, but Global Sanction didn't really lose a fight after the first point.
Yeah, they're really going to have to take it on that first fight, as you said. And it is possible to steamroll if you do manage to do that, so that's really what it will come down to.
Notice the no Reinhardt from mOist coming in here. They're going to go all main road. I don't think they've spotted the turret yet. Eagle Eye taking a lot of damage. He actually forced to heal. He's going to be the first one to probably go down here. Two of them go down. Berry and Eagle Eye going to get picked up. Cream on the sidelines. He's trying to do a bit of a flank there, but it's looking like all shambles for mOist right now, Gaima.
Yeah, they just didn't really look coordinated with that. Roadhog really overextended, the Reaper jumping in just to be destroyed as he teleported. It just really, they need to work on their coordination if they want to take the point.
I actually think they're kind of struggling without the Reinhardt shield. I think the Reinhardt shield is, the way they were trying to push anyway, it looked like they weren't really committed to it, and you know, if you're going to waste any of it, you can't really waste that much time in a composition that doesn't have a Reinhardt, because you don't have the leeway with the shield, and I think it actually is really hurting the composition.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely. I mean, we saw Global Sanction not use the Reinhardt, but they did a very different push.
3 minutes left on the clock. Bucklock's going to take down Cream. I don't like the Tracer pick here either, especially because there's a Torbjorn. I think they've seen the Torbjorn now. They've had a really good look at the Torbjorn, actually. And, you know, they're still keeping this Tracer.
They just switched it to a Pharaoh, which is a good move.
They did just switch it to
But
Pharaoh.
I think it'll be too little too late, really.
Yeah, you did say they did need a Pharaoh to try and take down this turret. It was one of the things that needed to be happening, and Global Sanction, feeling pretty confident. They're even going to be doing a little bit of a forward hold there. You saw a render going up pretty big as well. There's a Fat Midi, not going to do anything extra with that. mOist still coming in slowly. Eagle Eye finally on the Reinhardt shield. Can they take down the turret? Probably going to be their first target, but Rick on the sidelines as well, doing a bit of a distraction there.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is Winston has been consistently providing the shield for that Torbjorn turret. And what that means is you just can't quickly eliminate that turret, and that allowed it to be Molten Cord, which just shut down the push.
Speaking of Molten Core, Buglocks doesn't really have one at the moment. I think he already used it. I didn't quite spot the usage there. 2 ultimates, 3 ultimates, I should say, still up for the side of Global Sanction. But 4 ultimates on the side of mOist. Could they actually take a fight here? I mean, unfortunately, Raze just went down, and here's the Black Hole, and that's actually going to be really critical. I think what they need to do here is combo Black Hole with a Pharaoh Barrage to make something happen, but Soch goes down, so a 6v5 position might just be what mOist is looking for.
Yeah, they have the ultimates to push. That pick on Raze was really bad, but they're going into fight here.
Here comes Soch's ulti on the sideline. He's going to take... Sorry, Soundwave's ulti on the sideline. He's going to take down Cream, looking for more blood with Berry going down as well. The aimbot hitting true. Can the mOist players get in here? Lucio, Meg trying to do something really cheeky in there, but he's not going to last very long either. 1 minute 22 left on the timer, and they still haven't even taken the first point yet. I think it's safe to say they're not going to take the map in 120, but 120 is probably enough to at least take the first point, Gamer.
Yeah, they should be able to take that. I'm surprised they pushed in, even though Raze had been picked. I mean, we said that that would stop a push, and then they just chose to push in anyway, and then that push just got wiped. I don't see why they did that.
They still haven't used the combo, and now they've even got a hammer on top of that. They did use the Lucio ultimate. Nothing really came about that. They haven't managed to get really any picks, and the time they did get a pick on Soch, they didn't really capitalize enough of it. And actually, Soch are the ones, he's going to be the one going pretty offensive here. Global Sanction saying, we're the ones that want to take the fight to you. Once again, Render with the triple, finally getting taken down by Rabbit. Is there going to be a resurrection? That would be really good, but no, there isn't, because Rick is going to deal with Rabbit on the sidelines. And here, Global Sanction still 1 more kills here. They're going pretty damn forward. Eagle Eye with the shield up, but 30 seconds left on the clock. I don't even know if they can get the first point, Gaimar.
Yeah, they will really have to change something if they want to. They still haven't used that combo. They have so many ultimates up, and they're just not even making use of them, instead getting shut down before they even push.
Well, Global Sanction have used most of the ultimates. They only have 2 left, so if any time for mOist to finally get something done, they have all the ultimates now to actually do it. The timer is about to run out for the match. 3 seconds left, but 35 still on the map itself. The game on the actual map isn't over. Here comes the black hole. Finally, Wrecker responds with the whole hog on the sideline. He's going to take down 2, including Raze and Eagle Eye. Resurrection finally, and Eagle Eye still has a hammer. Don't forget about that. But Green not going to be available for the barrage here. Eagle Eye, the only one on the point. Wreck once again going to take him down, and it's just Raze on the front line. And now with the timer looking like timer's on about 12 seconds left, and Rabbit going down once again, so even with the Resurrection Gaimar, they couldn't get it.
Yeah, the thing with the split defense teams play on Numbani is it's very hard to get good black holes off, and that Zarya black hole I think caught 2 people, which if you want to do a strong combo, 2 is just not enough to have in that, and as a result they didn't wipe enough people for the push to succeed.
Not only that, but Rick's response there with the whole hog pushed away most of the mOist players who could actually respond there. The thing about using a black hole is you actually have to be able to connect the damage in there. You're actually going to see the whole hog usage being done here, and all of the mOist players can't even get into position to really take advantage of the black hole. Not only that, but I don't know if you caught that there, but the turret was in the middle of that with a molten core as well. I think Buglugs realized he'd been caught in that black hole, spamming Q there saying, okay, well, I'm a bit desperate now. Time to get the molten core out and finally use that. But really strong hold from Global Sanction. They didn't do too great on the first point attack, failed it a couple times. Pretty solid for the rest of the map, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to fail Numbani's first point a few times. You know, it is a relatively hard point to capture, but the important thing was that they managed to get the ball rolling and then steamroll it from there. And quite impressive from Global Sanction.
Pretty impressive indeed. I think mOist are going to have to really step up the game if they want to do something to take back on Watchpoint Gibraltar. What are your predictions here for Watchpoint Gibraltar? And I'm not just talking about who you think's going to win, but what are teams going to run here from your experience? How do they want to hold? How do they want to push and all of that kind of business?
Yeah, well, we've been seeing some changes towards the Watchpoint meta lately. I don't know if you've seen, but Untitled Spreadsheet have really been doing some interesting things, and also the Woodcucks. We're less focused on Reinhardt on this map. It'll be interesting to see whether these teams continue that with instead of going for jumpers like Winston and then like pick heroes like Roadhog instead of a Reinhardt, just allowing this beginning of the map just to really open up. Because the thing with that high ground, low ground thing is the Winston becomes so strong being able to jump onto that. So it'll be interesting to see some teams play the Reinhardt on the offense, some play it on the defense, some play it on neither. So it'll be interesting to see, especially the tank setup. On the offense setup, I mean, we could see a Widow. Some teams have tried to play that. Could see some Pharahs. There's a lot of things you can do on this map compared to the other maps, simply because it's quite a different map, a lot more open, a lot of flank routes, and it's quite a long map as well. So I'm actually really excited to see what the two teams decide for.
Well, I think the one thing we can take away there is on the note of the high ground, low ground business, especially for the second point. First point, definitely, but the second point is very terrain based. You have the shuttle in the air, you have the cart moving on the ground. You kind of have to split your forces a bit. You want to push the top area because you can't let the defenders stay there, but you got to move the cart. You got to do all this business, and that's where Pharah and Winston, the key combo for me anyway, is really going to pull the weight for both teams on both offense and defense. But because of the nature of a payload, I think you do still have to run a Reinhardt. So as you said, teams are kind of moving away from that now, but the nature of the way payload works is that you still do have to actually move the cart, and a lot of that means sometimes you have to actually slow push. If teams want to push quickly, a lot of teams are probably running their flicks onto the Winston, running one of their DPSs onto the Pharah, and you're actually seeing Genjis being played across the entire map as well, really. That's a pretty good pick. So, a lot of different things you can see here. Probably nothing really spectacular coming out from flick support picks. Lucio is still pretty standard on the defense here, but starting to see teams run more damage instead of Lucio on defense as well.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see a Symmetra instead, which, I mean, can work sometimes, but it's a very risky pick, the Symmetra, because you can get steamrolled very quickly. But, I mean, the teams can still do it, but Lucio, as you said, is a lot more common.
Okay, well, we're going to kick this map off. Watchpoint Gibraltar, map number 2 for week 4 of Heroes League TV with Global Sanction versus Team mOist. Global Sanction taking the first map out in pretty convincing fashion. 425 on the offense and then complete first point hold on the defense. Will it be the same story for Watchpoint Gibraltar, or are mOist going to finally bring something to the table and really show Global Sanction what they can do? Here we go. Let's have a look. So one of the heroes I didn't quite talk about here is actually Roadhog, which is still pretty good for this map because of the potential to pull people off from a high point advantage with the hook. And that's something I actually forgot to consider, which is actually still really strong on this point. Zaya actually still another really strong pick that we haven't talked about yet either on this map, Gaima.
Yeah, Roadhog I've seen teams use more and more lately. It works really well, especially against lots of DPS players like we're seeing on the defensive side. You see Rick here, if he can get a good pick on any of those players, then they can really open up the defense for the payload to just push straight through. And then on the converse side, we see a Roadhog on Raised, and if you can pick one of those players before the push happens, then they have to wait for respawns before they can even start the push, and it's a good way to delay.
So I'm going to quickly compare the team lineups here. We've talked about Raze, we've talked about the Roadhog. Both teams are going to run Pharah Soldier. Kind of predicted that. That's pretty standard for this as well. Soldier's still a really good pick because you kind of have to counter the Pharah, and the best pick for that is probably Soldier. But the flex here that we're looking at is Berry going to be on the Reaper on defense, and Buglog's going to be on the Lucio. He did hover over a couple of other picks. I know he's got a Pocket Genji in there as well that he's not allowed to play, but you know, we actually hovered over a Zenyatta as well, but we're not going to see that today. We're going to see the standard picks coming out. Soundwave's going to take the high positioning with Render. Both the DPS players for the side of Global Sanction going to go on the top area. And interesting to know... Oh, Soundwave's being pulled off very quickly. I don't think he's going to make it out of this one. I'd be very surprised. And that's spelling a bit of doom for Global Sanction right on the first point. And the point I wanted to make here that I was going to throw to you for, Gaima, is that mOist are not holding the server room, and they're going to choose to hold in the open area. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I've seen both used, and I think the open area works well if you're not confident in your ability to hold in that server room.
Soch, he got his charge interrupted by Raze's beautiful hook there, but Rabbit gonna be the one to fall on the side of mOist, and only 4 players up for mOist. Raze gonna take him down as well. Looks like only 2 of them are actually alive now, both the DPS players, and here comes a McCree for Cream coming on from mOist, and Berry still trying to make it in, but otherwise it's looking really strong for Global Sanction, and Mick can't do anything right now. He can't really make anything happen. That's gonna be a free gap for Global Sanction. What happened to mOist?
Yeah, they just don't seem to be fighting as a team, and I think part of it is only having one healer. It's hard to stay alive, keep getting picked off one by one, and if that continues, it's going to be very hard to hold.
The thing about picks was, Raised was doing a lot of the picks. I mean, he's the one that grabbed Soundwaves right off the bat of the map, and he's the one that stopped Soch from getting the charge, and Soch is going to get in there and smack Raised in the face for that little bit of a revenge kill for what he just did in the last push. But it all just kind of fell apart for mOist there. I mean, they lost Rabbit, and as you said, they only had one healer, so once you lose the Mercy, I mean, all your heals are out of it. And you got your 3 DPS players, but without tanks and supports to really back them up, I don't know if DPSs can really pull enough weight to hold that point.
Yeah, especially since Global Sanction's playing very standard comp, it's hard to fight against.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that soon, but Render's going to use an ulti on Eagle Eye, getting rid of that shield. 4 kills for Global Sanction. They're using a lot of ultimates here. I saw 3 ultimates used. Eagle Eye going to drop a hammer down. Can Cream respond with a couple of kills as well? Avenge the death of Eagle Eye. Cream going to get taken down by Render. The Pharah battle won by Render over there. And another easy, well, I don't know about easy, but very cleanly taken, soundly taken point for Global Sanction. And you're still seeing mOist players just getting picked off even now as they're losing the points. And they should be getting ready for their next hold, but their players are still dropping.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're missing like their usual in-game leader or something, because they seem to be playing almost like a pug style, which is quite interesting.
Here comes the push for Global Sanction once again, wasting no time. Soch gonna drop a hammer. I don't know if he caught anybody yet. I think Eagle Eye was the one that got caught there. And Meg gonna swat Render down with the fly swatter technique, finally getting that Vera out of the air. Rabbit's gonna get the resurrection of Ray's gonna get back in. It's been pretty critical to this game so far. Eagle Eye getting charged by Soch, and Ray's want to go back to their help him, but Rick is gonna come in as well. Who's he gonna look for? I think he still wants the Mercy pick, maybe. No one's dealing with Meg on the top floor of the battlement, so Rick hilariously gonna push off raised off the point of the map, but mOist actually got a few plays here until that is taken, who can get a double res on the point, but it's still looking pretty good for mOist so far.
Yeah, I don't know if that res was really necessary. They have a lot of time and they have a lot of ults. I don't know if they really needed to continue this fight longer.
Oh, here comes Render. Oh, Ray's gonna get him out of the sky as well, put him straight down. Soch gonna do a solo ult on Raze and knock him down a grab, but he's the only one on the point, and I think Global Sanction used a lot there. They threw away a lot of ults there to not manage to get that push, and mOist, they're gonna hold for that one push.
Yeah, I think Global Sanction's just getting a little overconfident considering how the results have gone so far. They just thought, okay, let's just finish this off because we're going to win, but that sort of overconfidence has no place in a competitive game. It can turn around very quickly.
They actually used all their ults, and here we go. Ray's going to get pulled in by Rick, going to take him down straight away, the first one. Cream responding to the back line with a double on the Death Blossom. Render and Buglugs both down on that and taken down this time as well. It's kind of fine for Global Sanction. They did lose that fight once again. Well, they're looking like they're about to lose that fight. They didn't have ultis anyway, and they probably weren't going to win without the ultis. All the ultis were on the side of mOist, and they used them very effectively. Cream got the double kill there, and Render going down once again. This is going to be a two-time hold for mOist. They've held this point twice now, Gaimer.
Yeah, but now Global Sanction's starting to get some ults back, and so the next fight will really be the one to decide this.
The critical thing here is that Taken finally has a res, but Rabbit doesn't, and I think it's going to make a really big difference. Here you see Global Sanction, they look like they want to come around the fuel pump room side. Cream going to do a sneaky teleport on the top. He doesn't actually have an ult or anything. I don't know why he's dropping down, but Reg's not having any of that, pushing him straight up. It's kind of not a bad trade for ulti, because now the whole hog has gotten rid of. Here comes Soundwaves with the aimbot on the back line as well. 3 down for the side of mOist. Rabbit, does he have an ult? Yes, he does. He's going to get 3 plays back into it. And Eagle Eye going to get the trade on Buglugs. Tactical visor for Mech, you can immediately shut down. And Global Sanction are starting to look okay for this. I mean, they're managing to get the picks, and mOist look like they're just starting to fall apart here. All their players are going down. Race is really the only one here defending. He's going to get pulled. Cancelled. Oh, beautiful ult cancel with the hook there by Rick. Mech and Rabbit are the only ones left. Mech's got an ulti that he wants to use. Damage boosting as well on the back line, but Buglow's going to cancel that one out with the Soundwave. Nice hammer down for Soch, going to secure that offense. And oh, Render, that was a bit of a bad luck, but they got the push.
Yeah, Soundwave's getting that high ground, I think, made a huge difference in that fight, because he was unanswered. He just continued to just rain death from that high ground position, and you can shoot over the shield from there, and it's very effective.
You're talking about Soundwaves?
Yeah, Soundwaves.
Yeah, the way Global Sanction are playing with their soldier and the kind of positions that Soundwaves are taking has been really critical for this. And you're absolutely right, he is being unanswered because you're not seeing a response from mOist. They're not running a Pharah, although Pharah does kind of get countered by soldier there, but you're not running anything that can get up there and actually challenge Soundwaves, and he's just having fun on the back line. And really the only other thing you can do is maybe run your own soldier on the battlements, which they did try to do. You did see Mech on the bridge on that battlements trying to contest Global Sanction, but the problem there was the rest of his team just died beneath him.
Yeah, the other thing they could have tried is using a Tracer to just try and pull Soundwave's attention away from the fight. Tracer can harass those high ground positions very well because you can just sneak past the team. And that could have been something to try. The one downside of that is then you're losing a core DPS player to that Tracer, because Tracer can't really output the same sort of damage another role like a soldier could. So, I mean, there are trade-offs to those sort of decisions.
Tracer aside, though, I actually think Winston might have been a pretty good pick to counter Soundwaves. Like, even if you don't kill him, you annoy him. You jump up there, you drop a shield on him. You don't even have to do anything after that. You kind of just run away even, and you've almost done your job and you've distracted the soldier. You've stopped him from doing his job. But I think it's the rest of mOist that are sort of, they're just getting picked off and it's all just really quite falling apart quite quickly for mOist. And you know, while Sunwaves is doing a lot of work in there, I actually think Rek is the one getting in there, getting the key picks on the hook. You saw him cancel an ulti on the others on the mOist side. You saw him get hooking a couple other players that I'm not going to remember right now, but it just looked like he was doing a lot of work. So back to lobby. I think we've had there's a couple of issues, server issues. People were saying that the ping was a bit off, so we're gonna go back to the lobby and just see if we can get ourselves back on an Australian server. But mOist are gonna be the ones on the offense this time. And after that last performance, what can mOist really do? What can they do here to secure a good time?
Yeah, well, we've seen that they do have some strong players. I think they just really need their coordination to improve. If they can get a good coordinated defense with some nice counter pushes, and they can hold these first 2 checkpoints, this first third of the map, then I think they can really hold it up for quite a while. Especially if Raze does the same sort of work. But I noticed that he seems to be playing Reinhardt, which means he won't be able to do that same work on his Roadhog, and which kind of worries me, because I felt like in that previous half and in the previous map, he was doing a lot of the work for mOist. But I mean, Reinhardt can do a lot of work. It seems like a scary thought to me.
Seeing a few player change-ups here, you saw Mick on the Soldier last round of the defense. Now he's on the Lucio, and once again with Raze, you saw him on the Flex or the Roadhog, and now he's on to the Reinhardt. A little bit strange. Could there be maybe a few role? I don't want to use the word issues, but interesting decisions nonetheless with the way they play the roles. Because usually, if you're gonna play a player on a DPS role, he's gonna stay on the DPS role. And you saw Cream has been their key DPS player. But I think I agree with you. I think Raze has been the one for me as well that's been doing a lot of the work. He's the one, especially on the Roadhog, getting the key pulls, getting the key picks. And I think the takeaway for mOist here is that them knowing that they can actually do a couple of holes against Global Sanction, that it's not just a straight steamroll through. I mean, you did see them get 2 to 3 holds on the last point there, means that, you know, they're in this game. They're still contenders. I mean, they can do something.
Where does it hurt?
Yeah, this defense is quite a split defense from Global Sanction, so if mOist can get some quick early picks, they could open this up quite quickly.
Quick early picks is exactly what Eagle Eye had in mind, because he wanted to jump in there, dropping a shield, scaring away Render, but here he comes back again. He's like a little moth, straight back into the flame. Global Sanction, a lot of players being committed onto the bottom. Oh, sorry, actually, that's the mOist side. mOist, a lot of players being committed onto the bottom. Lots of shields coming down. Global Sanction is doing the classic server room hold. They want to be on the aggressive side now, doing the speed boost out. Nothing really came of that. Rek going to pull in Raze and be the first one down. Sorry, Rek actually pulled an Eagle Eye. The res already coming out for mOist now. 6v6 still into this fight, looking pretty messy, taking in a bit of trouble from Eagle Eye. Soch going to get taken down, and the player advantage goes into the way of mOist. They need to start picking up and converting another kill off this. Eagle Eye pretty deep still, but the rest of the team are taking their time and moving in quite slowly, which means Berry is going to get taken down as well. And now Global Sanction are the ones on the offense. They have the player advantage that plays it going in. Render wants some trouble in the backline. He's going to use his ultimate, not going to catch anybody though, and Ray's going to get taken down. So Global Sanction look like they're probably going to hold the first point as Cream gets pulled in for that final kill.
Yeah, even though they lost a few players, they kept their Mercy up, which was quite key, because Taken still had his res. So even if mOist had wiped more players, the res would have just come in. And so I think they were quite confident in their ability to keep holding the fight, and they just continued their domination through. But mOist seemed to be pushing quite far up here without too much support from their high ground players. So
yeah, Berry gonna get taken down already, so it's 5v6 going into the next fight already for mOist, and they have all the ultimates up minus Berry, and we're looking at another situation where they got all the tools that they need to take this next fight. It's all going to come down to the execution of how they want to do this. Oh no, Rabbit on the back line though, sniped by Render with a beautiful rocket, and that's going to be, you know, the resurrection down. And I think if mOist are going to do anything to stay in the fight and win a fight, they have to get a good resurrection off.
Yeah, I'm liking what Global Sanction are doing here, trying to stagger the spawns by pushing in and taking out the Reinhardt and the Lucio and now the Soldier. It's a really good way to stop those pushes, because now they've got to wait for the new respawns after having lost that Mercy earlier, and that just really improves the time difference, which is what Stopwatch is all about.
Well, I think what mOist can take away from that is they managed to get the whole hog ultimate out of the way, so it's 6v5 in terms of ultimates, which means if mOist can use ultimates here effectively, kill a bunch of the Global Sanction guys, and also kill Taken to make sure there's no res, well, I mean, that could be their fight, but so far it's not looking good because Cream and Eagle Eye already down. Render wasting no time get the barrage down as well. Berry, Rabbit next to 4. It's only Mick and Raze left. Let's hope they don't use any ultimates here because that would be really unfortunate. Raze just kind of needs a suicide, and well, it looked like Global Sanction basically did that entire defense off the back of one ultimate usage, and you know, really, they probably didn't even really need to use that. Eagle Eye gonna be the first one to jump in again, Geimer.
Yeah, Eagle Eye really hasn't been coordinated with his team. We saw last fight that he jumped in with that ult, but his team didn't really capitalize on Global Sanction focusing on him. And then in that fight, he got picked way too early. I mean, with Winston, he gets picked very quickly if he's not careful.
He just changed to Widowmaker. Is this gonna be the pick that mOist have been waiting for?
Yeah, well, the Widowmaker could open it up. I mean, Render's playing very aggressive, so if that Widow can get a quick pick on Render, they could win fights very quickly.
Here we go, the sound barrier and also a whole hog coming down. Gonna get cancelled by Raze there, but he will die for that. Berry, the only one to respond with a kill onto Render. Global Sanction cleaning up pretty soundly inside the server room. It looked like mOist wanted to take a fight into the servers, but immediately just played into Rek's whole hog, which seems to just be coming up every few seconds, guy, man. He's just getting whole hog after whole hog after whole hog.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm aware, Blizzard are going to be making some changes to that because he gets it way too quickly for how effective an ultimate it is.
Oh, Eagle Eye gets the fly swat on Render, and we talked about the Widowmaker pick, that this could be the one that they're waiting for to get them back into this game, and to get Render down. They have 6v5, but they're actually not moving on this. Their players are taking a lot of time to get onto the point. Here we go, Raze is on the, Raze changed up as well. He's actually on the Zaya. Tactical Visor, Soundwave's on the top line. No one's dealing with him right now. It's just Eagle Eye trying to aim him out, but Soundwave's doing a lot of damage. Cream gonna get taken down there. Such beautiful hammer down onto 2, cleaning up Raze and Berry. Here's the resurrection. Rabbit gonna die for that. Still only 3 up on the side of mOist, although they got the resurrection off, they got their players back, but they're all gonna die again, Geimer.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't push in off that pick on Render, because they had the players there. I don't know, maybe the speed boost wasn't up or something, I didn't see, but they really need to be working on those picks if that Widow play is going to really make the difference, but they're running out of time here.
Yeah, 20 seconds left on the official stopwatch timer, a minute 20 left on the map timer. So this basically means they're not going to be, well, obviously it means they're not going to be able to get the match when off stopwatch, but they do still have a minute 10 left to push on the map. And another change up. Cream has now gone onto the Genji, sorry. Doing a little bit of poke there, but otherwise not getting too much done. mOist look like they want to do a server-side push here. No ults this time, only Berry has an ult, and Eagle Eye going to get taken down. Rek once again with the whole hog. It's been so instrumental with that this game. Ronda Rousey with the roundhouse kick to Rabbit's face, knocking him down. Oh, man.
Very early in that fight, Render landed a shot on Eagle Eye at the same time as Soundwave shot his Helix rocket. And that got the pick at the very beginning of the fight, and that Widow being out straight away was really important.
Yeah, Render showing that he's a strong UFC champion who don't need no man in this fight, with Eagle Eye going to taken down with the res. This could be opportunity time finally for mOist. There's not going to be a res on the side of Global Sanction. That every other kill they get here is going to count, but can they get the kills? Because Eagle Eye's been taken down once again by Render, and the Soundwave down for Buggerlugs on the side of Global Sanction. Oh, Black Hole finally being used, but no one's going to capitalize on the damage. Where's the ult? Cream finally with the Dragonfly, but he'll immediately get killed by Rek. Berry finally taking down Soch, but is it going to be enough? We're into the overtime now, and mOist need a few more kills here. They have to actually kill Render, they have to kill Rek, but let's not forget about Soundwaves on the back line, and he's going to take down a couple of kills himself. He's got the tactical visor, blue beamed up, it's going to do a ton of damage. Rek with another whole hog, didn't he just use one? Where's that coming from?
What I really saw that fight, which was really nice counterplay, was when Raised used his black hole, Soch immediately responded by hammering down on all of the available mOist players. And this may be the play here.
This might be it, because that's a pretty big shutdown if I ever seen one. So I'm gonna shut up for a minute. It's not the one I thought of, but it was a pretty crucial one nonetheless. And it's hard to say, you know, was that the play? Because a bunch of Global Sanction basically, they just looked like they were ahead for most of that game. I mean, there were a few times it looked like mOist could capitalize on a couple of picks. I mean, the one that we keep going back to is when the Widow got the kill on Render, and mOist were very slow to respond. They also had a McCree there. I don't know how good Barry's McCree was, how effective it was there either. And Cream finally switches to Genji at the end. They had a Dragon Blade. They also had the Black Hole, but they didn't combo the Dragon Blade with the Black Hole. And as soon as the Dragon Blade did get used, it was cancelled immediately by Rick with a beautiful hook.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they were going to use that Dragon Blade when Soch hammered down to counter that, because it just seemed like they had nothing ready to take it, because all the players were standing right in front of the Black Hole, and standing right in front of a Reinhardt that has ultimate is a quick way to go down.
So that's going to be two fairly dominant displays from Global Sanction. Pretty steady offenses there. We had a 4 minute 25 time, I believe it was, on Numbani, and also got I think it was 5 minutes 54 for the Gibraltar game. So two, you know, very decent times. Had a bit of trouble on the last push on Gibraltar for Global Sanction, but otherwise pretty smooth. And both the defenses managed to defend directly on the first point, and mOist just couldn't find an opening to get in there. So interview time now for Heroes League TV. We got Rick coming in representing the side of Global Sanction. I'll just quickly check with Brodogs if also Salsa here, if anyone from mOist is going to come in before I kick this off. No one from mOist is going to come in. That's a little bit unfortunate because I did have a few questions I was really hoping to ask them, but we got Rick here instead. So first off, congrats on your win. How did you feel about that? Was it as smooth as you want it to be? Did you guys make a few more mistakes than you would have liked to, or what was your general feelings about your win tonight?
Yeah, the win was all right. Given that our lineup is relatively new, it's not particularly tried and tested. We've been a little bit rocky, but I think all things considered tonight we put on a pretty good effort, pretty good performance, and everyone's feeling pretty good going into the rest of the week. So we're feeling pretty good.
Well, you're finally you're 2-2 on the scoreboard now, which means you're on the rise, and to make playoffs, you just have to win the next 3 games, so no pressure there. But must be feeling pretty good off the back of that win. I just want to break down quickly a couple of the key moments there I saw for you guys that I wanted to get a little bit more info on. So we'll talk about Numbani first, because that was the first map you guys played, and the first point push, little bit weird. You guys had your strat going. You wanted to take that right side. You had the D.Va, you had the Winston. The first push didn't go quite well there. What happened? You guys failed that first push.
We lost a little bit of the comms randomly. Just didn't get a focused target and just all slipped off in random directions. But we kind of just held it together for a second. We just kind of reset it and just said, yeah, we know what we're doing this time. Just run straight in. Did the same thing again. No problems whatsoever. Like, it's a little bit rickety. Like, Numbani is not the funnest map, but it's something. It's more challenging for most teams. So it's good to get something going on.
Okay, and then I think the rest of the map, you guys fairly good. 4 minutes 25 is a pretty good time. Let's talk about your defense a little bit there. Something new we're seeing from you guys is that you've gone for the Torbjorn on the defense now. How you guys been finding that strategy, and what are you guys doing with your Numbani holds at the moment with that?
So from our showing at I believe it was Winterwatch, we had a very not particularly embarrassing, but not the best time of our lives against a particular team during that tournament. And we thought to ourselves, we have to find something that's a little more mobile, a little better to lock down targets, and just actually able to just add that extra layer of damage. So we picked up the Torb. We made Winston jump between balconies and just let him smash into people, and just from there it just gives us a lot of pick potential. Unfortunately, this time it was a little bit rickety because unfortunately someone forgot to unmute their mic during that whole round. So yeah, we'll have to figure that
Oh, sound waves, Jesus Christ.
out. It's actually Soch.
Oh, it was Soch. Okay. Interesting.
Shout outs to your boy Soch.
Okay, cool. Gaima, did you have anything that you saw particularly on Numbani that was interesting to you that you might want to throw Rick's way?
Yeah, I loved the play between the Winston and the Torbjorn. Was that planned for him to always be on that Torbjorn ready for those shields, or was that just kind of a spur of the moment thing?
No, it was 100% planned. The whole idea is to just get a bit of a bait in and just see how much they commit to it, and then from there we just reassemble and just pick it up again and just make them try and overcommit for the turret, and then just collapse on each one each time. Hasn't failed us to this point, and we're doing pretty good with it.
Yeah, and I noticed that, I mean, some teams would have gone for the Reinhardt. Why do you think the Winston's better protecting that turret than something like a Reinhardt?
Mobility. Just has to get between the balconies much faster, and just Reinhardt just can't do that. He's too slow. So we have the Winston just jump between it, and if anything happens between there, we can just collapse onto the point together, shield up, stay pretty hefty with like Winston and Roadhog, and just stay alive.
Yeah, so now that we've done talking about Numbani, I think Avril has some questions about your Gibraltar.
Mhm.
So, pretty solid attacks, both sides. You guys were, I'm gonna say, fairly aggressive with these guys. Did you sort of sense a bit of blood in the water with mOist? And because you guys definitely look like, you know, moving through the points, from the points through points, carrying the momentum through. You guys were very hungry for blood on those
Yeah.
maps.
It's definitely our thing. We've been pretty hungry since yesterday, truth be told. But the main thing we notice is that if there's anything we can exploit, we will try ruthlessly to get into it. So for us, it was just if we pick one off, they start scattering like mad. So we just kind of used it to our advantage and just tried to take down whoever we could. If we make the trade, then good. If we take extras down, then better. And we just keep trying to brawl. It's our favorite thing to do.
So you guys had a pretty clean run through Gibraltar right up until that last point. So what actually happened there in that last point? That's when mOist started to finally get a couple of holds on you guys. You failed a couple of pushes. What went wrong there?
I think we eased off the trigger a bit, and we just gave them a little too much there. We kind of disrespected the triple deeps a little, just because of we just weren't like covering every angle, but they kind of gave it away when they committed to me in the side door, so I could push one off and just keep going for the fights there. I think our mercy control, we did a little bit of work there, but I think that's probably one of the only really grave mistakes we made during the whole night, and that's something we can just iron out with time.
You've also done a bit of swapping through in terms of your own hero picks. You mainly play the Roadhog here, the Wreck Hog here, but you've also got a little bit of the Zaya in there as well. Like, how have you been feeling with balancing those two heroes? And I notice you do still go back to the Roadhog at the end of the day. Do you just feel like it's just more effective?
I think if when it comes to the point where just like we try to make the plays, we try to make the particular things happen, but if there's a specific target that has to die, no matter what, it's always good to have the Roadhog. Like for me, if there is a particular player or target on the other team that needs to be locked down, for me, I will hunt them down with that Roadhog. It just makes it frees up the rest of my team to actually like put work in, and being able to soak as much damage as I do with Roadhog just lures a lot of threats to me and frees up my team.
Okay, cool. So, you know, once again, really smooth attacks and defenses, all things considered. I'm just going to quickly look at how you guys are going to go on from here. So your next week, you'll be playing Lijiang Tower and Dorado. How do you guys feel about those two maps? And are you practiced? Are you prepared? How are you going into these?
All things considered, we've got quite a bit of practice across the Koth maps, just because we on our own, like the majority of us have still played like quite a considerable amount of games on Koth. With Lijiang, probably needs a little bit of ironing out, truth be told, but our grasp of payload maps and across the board is actually pretty solid. In regards to Koth, I think just our playstyle that favors brawling wherever possible just kind of gives us the edge. like in a lot of circumstances, but it's something we really have to just iron out.
Yeah, and one other thing about the team that you've got at the moment is something that Geimer and I were talking about right at the start of the cast. Is you've had a couple of player shuffles here and there. Do you feel like you finally got the stable roster? Do you feel like you guys are finally set with your core, that you're ready to go, and now is the time for Global Sanction?
I have a very okay. So given with this roster, we've been battling with quite a few issues lately. Like we've got our we've got way too many emergency subs now, given all the random things that have been going on. But now I think all that has passed. We don't have to worry about sitting on a 3-3 at the end of Zowie or just like randomly scraping in against other teams. Now we have a much more solid lineup. It's everyone's sort of coming together. The gel like we're kind of developing a lot of cohesion. We're able to really take it to other teams. And no matter what excuses anyone else puts up, and no matter how much anyone downplays us, I think we're ready to just take it to the top. We want a piece of this, and we want to get in there.
And I'm sure we'll be looking very much forward to your performances in the upcoming weeks. Gaiman, did you have any, even just general questions you want to throw Rex way about Global Sanction or him personally, what he likes to eat maybe? I don't know, anything?
Yeah, well, I noticed that Sandwaves played almost exclusively Soldier. Does he ever play anything else?
He can. We've got a few things in the back pocket for, especially for next patch. But the main thing at the moment is just because Soldier's just such a strong hero on his own. We kind of leave all the fanning about to render, and we just rely on the raw aim and smarts that Soundwaves has, and it works out the best for him on Hitscan Champion. So we just give him just a lot of breathing room with the Soldier. Probably will be the same thing with the McCree next patch. Just a lot of things that just give us the breathing room for him and the brawling potential for the rest of us.
Speaking of next patch, do you think that Anna will see any competitive play, or do you think she'll just be something for pubs?
There's a few specific cases where Anna looks like she'll shine amazingly, like getting her ult onto specific heroes makes her insanely strong, and like the bio grenade looks like it can really put in a lot of work against some healing things, especially like with the changes to Zen. But the big thing that's going to come down to it is if you wouldn't be using it just for the straight healing potential. It's more for the playmaking with the buffs, the debuffs, and things like that. So I think a few specific teams will probably make pretty good use of her. We are still up in the air about it. We think it has a lot of potential, but we want to just iron everything out first before we start getting into our crazy strategies.
And so the other two heroes which could potentially be seeing some more players, Zenyatta and D.Va, do you think either of those will be back in competitive, or do you think it will be sticking with what we have?
Soch has been dying to play more D.Va, and I think we'll have a good look at it. Like we've seen it on Numbani, it definitely works for us there with the mobility. She's a lot easier to sort of work with overall. Like she's very much more accessible, much more like viable in regards to like just being a stable pick. Whether or not that gels with other strategies people would have in the next patch is still up in the air. As for Zenyatta is probably going to be a very strong defensive pick. Just Zenyatta plus double hit scan will nail almost anything that goes out of position to the nearest wall. No problems whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that's all I have to ask. Do you have any more questions, Avril?
Well, I'm pretty happy with that, and I think, once again, congrats on your win. Looking forward to seeing more of your team, particularly in this league, as we're starting to get into the money side, the business side of the tournament, where we're going to finally find out which teams are the ones going to have the potential to make it to playoffs, and which ones are just going to end up playing for the points. And you guys are still in it at a 2-2 score. You got 2 more weeks to go. Best of luck, and hopefully that coach of yours can do something cool as well. So, cheers.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I definitely enjoyed myself.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on, Rick. And that's going to be Heroes League TV week 4 for the Tuesday concluded with Global Sanction taking down mOist in pretty convincing fashion.